Hello, hi. Hello, I'm live on Facebook. It should really have been on YouTube, but unfortunately it's not. So if you just hang on one second, I'm just going to go and share this with Twitter and Facebook. Hang on. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. I'm just sharing this broadcast on Twitter. No. Um, Right, I'm back. What it is I had to go sharing it on the other platforms because obviously everybody thinks I think I'm on YouTube, but I'm not actually because for some reason I couldn't get my camera hooked up to the portal, whatever you. But I'll have to sort that out. I don't know why it's done that because it allowed me to do it before, and now it's kind of like not allowed me to do it. So I'm here on Facebook. So if you're coming on and if you actually want to share this broadcast with other people, then feel free to do so. Okay, I'm pretty casually dressed today, as you can see, because it's quite cold in here, and I'm pretty much giving you a candid, down to view look at me, Angela D. Martin, which I'll go into a bit more depth about for those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who need to know me, who are wanting to know me for personal reasons and to know a bit about me and to get to have a feel of the type of person I am. That's why I'm actually doing this broadcast as well, so people can know a bit more about the person behind everything that's happening. I've not been very well lately, actually. A few of you know the details, but I'm on the mend now. I'm feeling much better. But I wouldn't advise anybody to go through what I've been through. But it was horrendous, and I had lost a lot of strength and everything. But it's something I needed to go through, and I'm glad I went through it in a sense because I think I got a bit of a purge and a cleanse, which is a big hint to what I experienced. So I can't see any comments, but I'm going to keep going anyway. I think it might be something to do with my system or whatever, but I will share this broadcast anyway after I've finished. But I just really wanted to introduce myself because obviously I do very few live videos now, and the Bible study's not there, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys were still aware that I'm still around. It's just I'm busy, and obviously needing a lot of assistance, which hopefully that will be remedied very shortly. But really, I'm on here to tell you a bit about myself, okay, and to give you a feel of the type of person I am. And I am sincerely genuine, and I really do mean well when I say things. And I hope I don't offend many people, but sometimes people can take offense because they misunderstand what I'm saying. So I'm hoping to clarify a few of those things this evening. The first thing I really wanted to address is that I'm very easy to get on with. Okay, I'm pretty much a easy person to get on with. Obviously, in light of everything that's happening now with the COVID-19 and that, it really has kind of kicked in, and therefore some abnormal measures that have to be taken in terms of how you interact with people, and things that you share with people, and physical things that you share with people, and not really knowing what's happening or how all this thing started, and a lot of uncertainty is floating around in the atmosphere, and also it's a big faith tester for a lot of us. And I wrote a book recently, and I think that this book really epitomizes what we're going through right now, and it was written, I think, at the right time and for the right reason. I'm not going to go into too much depth about that book right now because this is not what the broadcast's about. It's just really knowing about me, the person, so you can get a feel of what's going on. There's a lot of deception going on. I'm fully aware of it, and that's why I'm being very careful about what I say, and so nothing can be confused about what I say or what I mean. I'm hoping to, as I said, clarify a few of these things this evening with a lot of you. I expect nothing but open honesty from people that I meet. I really get annoyed with liars and people who waste my time. I get very annoyed with that, and I think anybody would, because time is one of your very precious commodities. And if somebody leads you up a garden path, for those of you who are not English, it means leads you in a merry dance. In other words, misleads you and then causes you to lose a lot of your time and your effort that could have been spent elsewhere positively. You can get very annoyed with that. I think anybody would be really frustrated and annoyed with that. My age, I am 52 years old. Yes, I'm shocked myself. Where did all this time go? I still can remember when I was back in infant school, and technology certainly has moved on since I've actually been around a lot of the stuff that now people are sort of taking to another level. And I still remember when compact discs were the new thing in for college, because for university, because when I went to South Bank Polytechnic, it was Polytechnic at the time, but it got to university status and its name got changed to South Bank University much later, when we left, actually, by the time we left. And I remember compact discs were a thing that were all the craze coming in, and that's the thing that we were studying about, how to make compact discs and how significant they were going to be in technology. But now, obviously, things have moved on to the digital age, and other aspects and weird and wonderful things have come into play. So, yes, that's my age, 52 years old, for those of you who wanted to know. And my name is Angela Diane Martin. That's what the D stands for in the middle. Okay. And I currently live in Crawley, West Sussex. I do not live in Redhill. I do not reside in Redhill. I used to be in Redhill, but I'm not there anymore. So I want to clarify that with all you guys. There was a post I put up recently explaining this to you, that Google have not updated the ministry details, and they haven't, changed that or anything. And there's a phone number on there which is not quite correct. I think that's the old landline number, and that's not true anymore. And there's a new number, which, obviously, if you need it, you can certainly contact the ministry for it. If you really need to contact me by telephone. Okay, so I wanted to clear that up, because I actually had a young lady speak to me about that today, and I said to her, if you check the ministry, you'd have seen the notice I put up. Also, there's a notice on Facebook on the ministry page that I put up as well concerning that, which she could have easily investigated if she looked a little bit more harder. So that's that. As I said, I'm fairly busy. So if people are sending me emails and I'm taking ages to respond, perhaps not as quick as I usually do, it's because I've got a few other things that I'm currently doing. I've got one email that came in today that requires quite a bit of attention, and I'm thinking of actually getting assistance with it, actually, because it's going to take me a while to go through and to do and to read and to understand what it is I need to do. So as I said, every single thing is taking time and it's taking energy, and obviously learning new things takes time and energy. And sometimes you haven't got that time as a leader to really put into that, because there's other more important things that you should be focusing on, and that's where your time management has to kick in. And it all helps if you have the right staff in place. And without it, you can be very crippled, and I really understand that. And so, which is the point I'm making about, I am very easy to get on with, and I'm pretty much an okay person, but I do require honesty from somebody, and I don't like being lied to, and I won't tell you a lie, hopefully. Maybe if I feel something's very personal, I think, you don't need to know something, I'll not really say it. But on average, I'm pretty much an upfront person, and I'm quite an honest person when you get to know me. I find that lately I've been finding myself panicking a bit and obsessively eating, but that could be just the fact that I'm indoors, like you get bored sometimes. But even so, and to do with the pandemic and everything, and I think it's to do with also when you fast generally. I'm very careful now about fasting and joining fasts with people, because of the fact I've got this meal thing or eating regularity thing now that I'm very much aware of. So if somebody says, oh, you need to fast or something, I'll say, I have to think twice about it now, because I think, well, I see where I'm at now. I've just stabilized my diet, I've stabilized myself, and to kick in with something else could just spark something else off. So I'm kind of gauging and assessing it on that level, which I think is key, really, because every time you fast, you should really be careful when you fast anyway, for medical reasons. But having said that, it depends on why you fast and how you're fasting as well, because obviously if the Lord has guided you to fast, it's a total different thing entirely. But I feel he needs to speak directly to myself for me to feel the unction and the urge to fast. And I do it when I feel the urge, and I don't really tend to listen to when somebody's telling me to do something when I know full well it doesn't ring, it's not flowing right. So, or it doesn't feel right. And I think you can get a feeling about something that something's not quite right by basically your situation, what you're in, and whether you're able to do what that person's saying and what have you. And I'm literally going to emphasize to be very careful about fasting and being, how can I put it? I call controlled a bit about when you fast and how you fast, because I think as a leader, and if you are leading, you should have a pretty much disciplined praying and fasting life anyway. And to have somebody knock you off course, and then that could really mess you up. And I think you need to gauge that and know, yeah, that's the time to fast, or that's your feeling, that's what it's saying right now. And that's not something I think that you gain overnight. I think it's something that comes over time. You kind of know when you're supposed to fast, when you're not supposed to fast. So that's with respects to where I'm at with food and eating and everything. I like to consider myself a reasonable and considerate person. Some may disagree with that, but that's up to you. You're free to comment. But I'd say I'm reasonable. I don't make demands on people, and I don't expect people to make demands on me either. And I hope to feel I'm an adult to a certain level. And I just want to talk about a very sensitive topic. At the moment, I am not dating, and that's by choice, okay? Because I find myself in a position where I do not know how to nurture. I think that's the correct word. Yeah, how to nurture my own husband. I think because when I date, I don't date for the fun of it. Well, there's nothing wrong with the fun of having fun with it, but I don't date just for curiosity. I date with the intention to marry. And I think that is something I think all of us need to think about, that the person you date literally is potentially your partner. So I'm pretty serious about that. And that's why I don't date now, because literally I think you get to a certain age and you think, no, I'm not having a boyfriend or what have you. And I don't believe in sex before marriage either. So there's that aspect as well. And I think it's for obvious reasons, as well as the fact that you just don't want a relationship based on just sex, because I think that is totally not something that I think is, well, it's important for some people, but it really isn't. I think it's important for procreation, to produce children. I can see the importance there, and I suppose you can have fun with it, but I think sometimes when you take the fun thing too much, it can become distorted and perverse, and I think that's what I'm trying to avoid, really, the perversion part of it. I do have a preference that has been mainly dictated from experience. Okay, I do not wish to be considered racist, because this is not a racial issue, just one based on common sense. Okay, I do not date uneducated men who do not desire to improve their minds or genuinely love women. There are many misogynists out there, and some go undetected under the radar. I mean, there are also serial women daters. They get through the honeymoon stage, and then they move on to the next victim. And I'm fully aware that there's some people that do that. And it's a pretty childish thing to do. And I really haven't got time for people like that. And, you know, as I said, you go through life and you have experience of things and you think that's a waste of time, you know, and that's not what life's about. And all this dating and everything, that's not what it's about at all. So I never get involved with things I don't understand. I'll tell you that now. I don't get involved with things I don't understand or takes a lot of time to understand. So if you can explain something to me in 2 sentences and I get it bang like that, then that's a good bet. But if I have to take 10 weeks to understand something and I can't see how it's going to benefit something that I'm doing or I'm involved in, or improve a situation or solve a problem, then I'm going to reject it instantly. Okay, because I'm going to see it as a waste of time. And as I said, time is one of your precious commodities. So that's what I'm about. So you might find sometimes I ignore you or ignore something you just sent me or just reject something. And that could be based on that, really. And don't ask me to sign up for anything unless you are prepared to explain every single aspect of what it is you are trying to get me to sign up for. I never sow seed unless the Lord provides it. Okay. And if you are asking for seed from someone, you must also have the power instilled in you to ensure that person is able to give it. Otherwise, you're false. You're a false servant. Because, you know, I've been around some ministries and I can honestly say, if I had to sow a seed into that ministry, the seed would be there instantly. And that's how I know I'm meant to sow into that ministry. And I think that's a gauge for anybody, really, because there's something about seed sowing. If you are meant to sow a seed, you will have that seed by the time you need to sow it. And it will be there and you will sow it. Somehow, hook or by crook, it'll be there and you will sow it if it's meant to be and you're meant to do it. And if you don't have it, you pray about it and God wants you to sow that seed, it will be there. So that's something you must bear in mind, okay? And I don't know if it's based on your level of spirituality because, or in a sense of how close you are to God, on understanding and knowing and receiving from Him, because there's a level you've got to get to. Sometimes you need to purge before you can get to that flow. But I'm telling you, my experience of seed sowing is that that's how I gauge it. I know if I'm meant to sow a seed, the money will be there and I sow that seed. So I let go of a lot of the pressure of seed sowing when I can't sow it because I know it's not there. And there's a reason it's not there, because I'm not meant to sow it. So that's how I relieve that pressure, because I know that the Lord did not want me to sow that seed. It's not there. And don't ever let somebody pressurize you into sowing a seed that the Lord did not put there for you to sow for, because that could lead you into a lot of financial difficulties. And financial difficulties is not a nice pressure to have in your life, especially now at this time with all this coronavirus and everything and other stresses and strains going on in your life. Okay. But as I said, the key is to connect to the Lord and to be prayerful and to have a relationship with Him, because the closer you are in having that relationship with Him, the more you're likely to know when you're to sow, when you're not to sow. Okay, because that's key as well. I want to be careful about what I say on this next few points, because it could come across as a criticism, and it really is not meant to be a criticism. It's just meant to be an observation and a question, really, and a clarification. And what it is if you're giving someone words of wisdom and you yourself have unresolved issues, don't give opinions about topics on life, especially about something that you have the unresolved issue about, because you're going to be biased and it's going to be difficult for you to be impartial about it, because you're going to feel the pain and you're going to be letting out the pain in your knowledge and your wisdom, whereas you wouldn't give it in a rational way that people can really feel, well, maybe if this had happened or if you really thought about it, it's really a bit more about you and there's something else that's not quite right. It's just like never making a decision whenever you're angry. It's the same vein. Never give advice when you're on something that you're unresolved about, you haven't really processed, and you haven't really thought about both sides of the coin. Because I was privy to hear a comment made by someone, I'm not going to mention the name of that person, but this person's basically talking about a relationship they've been through, and they're pretty burnt by this person, and they were trying to give wisdom about it or knowledge about this person, and I just thought, you know, what I'm hearing is not wisdom, it's frustration and anger. So I thought, you know, it didn't quite come across or come over quite well, and I don't think the message was received in the way it could have been actually processed had that person taken the time to really think about it and process it and rationalize a bit more and think about what was actually happening, what lessons they were actually learning from that. So that's something I think I need to stress on that. And again, I'm going to say this, I have to be careful about how I say this because I don't want to offend. And I'm not trying to offend, I'm just trying to understand. And when I hear and I listen and I observe and I see people doing things, especially obsessive things, I think, where's this coming from? And is that healthy? And have they really processed and thought about what it is that they're doing? And is it to fulfill their own ego or their own need for validation? And what I'm going to mention is when a man or a woman needs many properties or churches, is this an indication that he or she needs to run away from something or someone? In other words, so they can hide or they can go to another place where someone else isn't or something, because, you know, it can come across that way. And is that person saying, look, I need space, very loudly, I need space, I don't want you following me around everywhere. You know, I just thought, you know, it comes across that way. And also, I don't want to look a fool in front of someone, or I'm becoming too familiar with someone, therefore I'm losing respect with that person, therefore I better move on to something else. I think you might be better off dealing with the issue, the real underlying issue, perhaps in a more safer way and less serial way, because it's becoming serial. And I just wanted to say this next point. I absolutely detest and hate infidelity. I will not entertain a married man, in other words, in a familiar way or anywhere like that. I would never do that. Okay, I'll tell you that now. And it really puts me off when I see married men flirting with other ladies and things like that. And I do not wish my ministry platform to be used as a bait for dating people, or as an excuse, or as a target for people who are looking to have affairs with people that they shouldn't be having affairs with. I will not be privy to that, and do not show me your lovers or your sweethearts and who are not your wives. I don't want to know. Okay, I don't want to be party to that. I know some people like to keep secrets and they get a buzz out of that, and then later on it turns to blackmail or things like that. I'd rather you just didn't show me. I don't want to know. You sin yourself. Don't make me be a witness to that. Okay, so I just thought I'd need to reiterate that point, because I have been a victim of that before and I don't want to go through that again. And I was very annoyed with the parties who got me involved, because I thought it was unfair, and I didn't keep quiet about it. I made it publicly known, and I thought it served them right, because they had no right showing me that. I didn't have to see that. They should have kept that to themselves. I'd rather not have seen it, and I didn't want to be a witness to it. And I warn you, do not show me things like that, because I won't take it lightly. Okay? I'm just telling you straight. If you want to sin, you're going to hell on your own. Okay? You should, get yourself right there. There's no need for that. There's plenty of support and help from Christian counsellors, the church support. There's lots of support. There's lots of marriage counsellors there. You can get help. You don't need to involve other people in a negative way and then cause their lives to be a disruption, because it certainly is a disruption and it's horrible. There's a deceit, and the energy you spend in covering up and lying, it just isn't worth it. It really isn't worth it. It really isn't. The next point I want to make is to tell you that I am a Christian. Okay, I'm not a Muslim. I am so not a Muslim, and I don't believe in this new Christalism or whatever it is that a few of the ministers have been going on about. So please, please, please don't try and convert me to be a Muslim or any other religion. I believe in Christ, and in Christ alone I believe. So that literally puts an end to any of that. Okay, so don't even approach me with that. And I already told you about the dating thing before, and that's what I meant about also being racist, and that I'm not racist at all. It's just I know what I believe in, I know my preference, and I so am not dating out of basically what is going to be considered a conflict in my life. That is a waste of my time. I know what I believe in, I know what I want, and it certainly isn't that. You see, I fully believe in marriages and I respect marriages. So everyone that is married and would never get involved with a married man, I just wouldn't do it, okay? So ladies, feel reassured with me that I personally wouldn't get involved with your husband, and that you're pretty safe with me, and I certainly don't want to know, and I wouldn't entertain it. It's just not in my makeup. It's not even in my thought process. I wouldn't even dream of it. Which brings me swiftly to my next point, okay? My next point was the one I mentioned before. Just don't show me your lovers. I don't want to know. I don't want to get involved with it. I'd rather you dealt with it, sorted it out yourself, kept your stuff to yourself. Don't get me involved. I don't want to know. All right, I'm not interested. And if you don't want your secret out, don't tell me, because I certainly am not hiding nothing like that. So don't even involve me in that. Another point I'll tell you, I do not take drugs. Okay, I have no desire to take drugs. I've never taken drugs in my entire life. Only ones ministered as a child for measles or something like that, or mumps or what have you, and that was the essential ones I needed, or jabs I've had if I've gone on holidays to foreign countries that like a malaria jab. I've had that. But I do not take drugs for recreational purposes. I don't smoke pot. I don't take cocaine. I don't take any of those things whatsoever. And I don't want to be offered that. And I don't support people who get involved with that either. It's such a waste of time, money, and your mind obviously gets affected by that. And your mind is the most precious commodity that God has given you to use for creative purposes, to help people, to develop yourself so you can become useful, for His Spirit to dwell in you, so you can help people, be it through healing or be it through counseling, or just being support, just saying words of wisdom, encouragement, and reassurance, especially at this time. There's so much comfort I've had through reading Bible stories and listening to ministers telling stories. Even when I'm not even able to read the Bible, sometimes it's heavy, and you feel you just need to chill for a bit because you've just been completely bombarded. Okay, so yeah, that's that point. I know for some of you this next point might feel, oh dear, but I do not believe in spiritual fathers. There is only one spiritual father, and that is the Heavenly Father, and it states this in Matthew 23 verse 9. I believe in mentors, people you admire and you respect, leaders, and that you will take advice from, counselors, but I don't call them fathers. So that's why when people say, oh, would you want to be considered my spiritual daughter, I don't link up to that, because of my belief that there's only one Heavenly Father, and it's on Him we're reliant upon. And there's no man that is more perfect than God. And without God, and we're not always in God, there's a lot of times when we fail, and a lot of our ministers, they're wonderful people, and even the best minister can have an off day. And it's those times when you can be vulnerable. And I believe in mentors. They're people I respect, and there's people whose ministries I will sow into because I believe in what they're doing. I believe they love Christ, and I want to support them, and and get the benefits of their knowledge and their teachings. So on that basis, that's that. So as I said, I have mentors, and they're people I respect very much, and I just love their teachings. Okay. So I only sow into specific ministries. So sometimes you can beg me as much as you like for a seed and feel you have a right to demand it of me. But I'm thinking, no, you don't have the right to demand it of me, because you don't know me. You don't know the assignment on my life and what my purpose is, because you've never taken time to really listen or comment or get involved with the things that I've done. So I think demanding a seed, you can demand as much as you like, but I said if the Lord doesn't provide it, I will not sow it unless He puts it in my heart and on my mind and in my hand to sow. Okay. The point I want to make here is that the ministry does free book reviews. Now, a lot of you don't know this, but we do free book reviews, but it's really for people who are willing to provide a complimentary copy of their book in a digital format for me to review and to read and then make comments about it. Okay, that's the bit you didn't realize, but that's okay. But now you know, all right, that if you got to provide a complimentary copy of your book for me to review. Okay, it's Christmas in 4 days' time, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for next week. Um, uh, I know we've had a lot to deal with this year, and no doubt we still shall have a lot next year to comply with. Um, and there's some great things I have been inspired to plan for all of you next year. And I really would like the opportunity to share this with you because I think you're missing out on a great lot of what I think the Lord has actually placed on my heart to give you. And, just to allow me to minister this to you. And it's not going to be expensive. It's not an expensive ploy or anything, but do look out for this next year. Something I'm planning for you or that's going to benefit you, and hopefully bring a lot more people to Christ and to realize the significance of what it means to be a Christian and how instrumental he is in your life and the significance of what it means to follow Jesus and to love him and to worship him and to accept him in your life. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything I've covered, but there was one more point, and I think I have to make it because it's again through this young lady that I spoke to or had communications with today. A lot of you in America might be a bit confused about this. You're not really educated to a level where you can actually know this, and obviously people in England as well don't know this, but England sometimes uses words in such a way to mean more than one thing. Okay, so it can be the same word, but it means something totally different. Now, a college can be used two ways. You have a college, which is a technical college or a community college, and that does qualifications up to A-level standard. And then you have a college, which is part of a collection of colleges, which formulates a university, which is totally different. And that's where you get postgraduate, doctorate, and graduate degrees. Okay, that's a graduate. So, like for instance, Oxford and Cambridge have a collection of colleges, and King's College has 4 campuses. It has one on Waterloo, I think it is, the Strand, and Dulwich, I think, or somewhere else. It's got about 4 campuses, and they're universities, and that's where you get a graduate degree or a postgraduate or a doctorate. And so they're the same, in a sense, status as in, say, any other university and Oxford and Cambridge, okay, who can actually get degrees. But if you ever see a college which doesn't have university written after it and it just says college, BTEC, or college community college, it means they go up to diploma level, which is like the American equivalent of high school, or at A levels, which is the next step up from general certificate of education, O levels. Okay, so that's a difference. And I said that because a person I've recently come to know called herself a graduate, and in fact, she's really not. She's actually just an A-level candidate. She's at that A-level standard. And I did ask that question, and that's what came up. So I just wanted to clarify that with you guys, so you know that the English do have 2 types of colleges: a university college and a community or tech college, which is 2 different things. They're 2 different types of colleges. Do you see what I mean? And that's the point I'd like to make. And as I said, it comes across like I'm being critical, but I think people need to be aware and they need to be clear on these things, because when you don't correct somebody, they'll make that mistake, and people will treat you according to the mistakes you keep making, not understanding that you just weren't corrected in the first place. And I'm not that person to just let somebody go on in ignorance, I'd just correct you and just say that's not quite right. And I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say, really. I just hope you have a really great evening, and I hope you know a little bit more about me now, and you know my name, and you know my age, and you know where I live, and you know Google is not always up to date with their information, especially when probably they've got a lot of backlog of updating information, especially because there's coronavirus and everything. So they haven't received correction notices. There's a lot of establishments have got a backlog of things that they need to update, and everybody's been falling behind because of being inundated and everything. But that's it, really. That's all I wanted to say. I hope you all got that loud and clear, and that the sound quality was fine. And I'm going to go now. So bid you all a great evening, and as I said, a happy Christmas, and so Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.